Good afternoon, everyone. It is great to be back for another episode of Conversations from Stritch. It's hard for me to believe that we are nearly halfway through the semester as we approach spring break. We have one more full week of classes before spring break starts. I know I'm looking forward to being down in Texas and possibly in Arizona for spring break, visiting some of our alumni. We usually go to a Cubs Sox spring training game, but that is now in doubt because of baseball owners and players. So we're hoping the gods of baseball get us ready for a game in the next couple weeks. We're also approaching the Lenten season. Fat Tuesday is next week, and of course Ash Wednesday to follow the next day after that. I wanted to invite everybody to a rededication mass next Tuesday at 4:30 in the chapel. The Bishop of the Joliet Diocese, Bishop Hicks, will be celebrating the Mass, and we would really welcome everyone to join us for this Mass. I also wanted to note today that right now, actually, I think it started at noon as well, Pope Francis is having a conversation with U.S. and students from the rest of the Americas about the Catholic Church and the future of the Catholic Church. This was put together by Loyola University. And we have a virtual group of people that are meeting in the Darcy Great Room right next to the chapel to have pizza as we speak and watch the Pope. So that's an exciting event that's going on. And I'm excited that Pope Francis is interested in what it is that students who are going to higher ed across the Americas are thinking about the future of the church. And this is a part of the synod conversation. So the church is going through a process of synod, which is really a listening process in which the church takes ideas from all over the globe and tries to put them into its sense of what its future is. I also wanted to say that today, and I just heard from somebody that President Biden is going to be speaking at 12:30 about the recent invasion of Ukraine. And I especially want to offer our prayers to all of those who are impacted by this conflict, but especially all of our students, faculty, and staff who are from Russia or Ukraine. We have students I know from both of those areas. They have family and friends back in Ukraine and in Russia, and their lives are going to be potentially upended, and I certainly know that they are thinking about their families back home, friends back home, and so we hold all those people impacted by this conflict in our thoughts and prayers. So as always, I'm joined by Dr. Christopher Sent, our provost here at LUCE University, who's going to offer a few updates on what's going on kind of in the broader university world, academically, and other events.
Yes, thank you. Hello, everyone. It's great to be with you. A few announcements around around news on the campus. The LUCE University Nursing Workforce Diversity Program has recently earned more funds for its scholarship program through a $1,500 gift from Versity Blood Center of Illinois. So what happened is in the fall of 2021, we achieved this distinction of having the most diverse units of blood donated from any of the universities in the area when we hosted a program called Leaders for Life Step Up Blood Drives. And 45 life-saving units were collected during that blood drive, and 17 units were donated from students of diverse backgrounds. And because of that, these units can be matched to patients who need blood transfusions, which has been so important always important and very important over the last couple of years. And that's because of that great contribution to the diversity of the blood donations, we were awarded that $1,500 grant. That is for the Nursing Workforce Diversity Program, which is, just to remind us, a $2.1 million grant from the U.S. Health Resources and Services Administration, Nursing Workforce Diversity, which funds a scholarship program and addresses the needs of disadvantaged students in Cook, DuPage, and Will counties. So it helps attract and retrain more diverse students, and that has really helped in so many ways in our internal community and obviously with our external community and on into the future. So we're really excited to see the positive benefits of that program already taking effect just in its second semester. Congratulations to Dr. Mark Schultz, professor of history, who recently led a discussion at the Newberry Library on land ownership after Reconstruction. Dr. Schultz gave the presentation with Adrian Petty from the College of William and Mary, who is his co-author of a forthcoming book on that subject. And I've heard him speak about that. It's really fascinating work about the South during Reconstruction and particularly around land ownership. The Jet Fuel Review will have a writing showcase on March 3rd from 4 to 6 p.m. featuring poets Rita Mukherjee and Carrie McGrath. And we will look on the website for the location of that as it's still to be announced. And then finally, a reminder that we continue to host an art exhibition by artist Benjamin Calvert, which is running through March 18th, and there will be a reception and gallery talk from 7 to 9 p.m. on March 18th for that. So lots of great stuff going on as we move 1 week away from the spring break. And now let's turn to athletics.
Athletics.
Which is really busy.
Yeah, this is that time of year as I, have heard you talk about before, Chris, of this transitional period where some of the winter sports are wrapping up, and then we have, of course, the starting of the seasons for the spring sports. So want to say congratulations to the men's and women's swimming teams who found out yesterday that it will be sending 4 swimmers to the NCAA Swimming and Diving Championships, which will be held March 9th through 12th at the Greensboro Aquatic Center in Greensboro, North Carolina. As I said, this weekend coming up is just filled with activity. The men's and women's track and field teams compete in the GLVC Indoor Championships this weekend. I was reading a little bit about the athletes going there. We have several who are, top 5 contenders. Some of them that are, slated to win their events this weekend, and also, have real potential to go to the national championships. Our softball team hosts a dome invitational at the Rosemont Dome, Saginaw State today at 3:30, and then Wayne State at 6 p.m. And Minnesota State Moorhead on Saturday at 11 a.m. At Ursuline College, Saturday at 1:30, men's and women's basketball play. Tonight at 5:15 and 7:30 against Maryville at Maryville. Missouri S&T at 1 and 3 on Saturday. I will say, men's and women's basketball are wrapping up an amazing run right now with, I think the streaks are 6 and 7 or 5 and 6. I don't remember, but they've been really doing a great job. Tonight it is whiteout night. Men's volleyball plays at 7:30 against Purdue Fort Wayne. So come out and cheer on the Flyers men's volleyball team and wear your white Flyers gear if you can. Men's volleyball is also playing Loyola this weekend on Saturday. Women's lacrosse plays tomorrow against Concordia, Michigan in Ann Arbor, and men's lacrosse plays at Maryville on Saturday. Men's and women's tennis play at Walsh tomorrow in Canton and at Tiffin, Ohio on Saturday. So just an amazing amount of sports. A few things to see on campus and a lot to watch at GLVC Sports Network. So, and just a couple additional comments. Next weekend, we'll certainly say this next week, but next weekend, bowling is in a championship mode. Basketball will be in a GLVC championship mode. So also next weekend, kind of get your schedule cleared because there's a ton of fun stuff to watch next weekend as well. Mm-hmm. So COVID is still kind of a part of our world, Chris, and I know you have some updates on how things are going on campus and in the broader community.
Yeah, so quite a bit. It's sort of a time of change and reflection around COVID. So I guess I just wanted to begin by reminding our community that our goals throughout the whole pandemic have been to maintain the public health of the LUCE community provide continuous and high-quality access to the educational experience, and serve the common good of our local and regional community by participating in the effort to combat COVID-19. In addition, we've continued to make data-informed decisions and relied on expertise and authorities such as the CDC, the Will County Health Department, and the state of Illinois. And our community has continued to live the Flyers promise. We've been flexible. We've treated each other with empathy, understanding, and kindness, and that has all been really, really helpful for these almost 2 years as we've been moving through the pandemic. We're aware that both the state of Illinois and the city of Chicago will be removing their face covering requirements in most environments starting on Monday. So we're going to look at a little information about our community, and then I'll make some announcements about some policy changes. So I think we have, first looking at the metrics, the information from Will County from the CDC was that there were 99. On Tuesday, there were 99 cases per 100,000 over that 7-day period, which puts us into the orange zone. The orange zone is the area between the red zone and the level of 50, which has been the CDC's threshold for reducing most of their advice about mitigations around COVID. I want to say that we have not been in the orange zone since, I didn't look up the date, but it has been since July of 2021. And so it is a really large change, and it's really signals a decrease in the amount of COVID in our community. The Will County positivity ratio is 3.24. It's also very low. The cases in our community, we had 5 total last week and 2 so far this week, and the vaccination rates are similar to what I announced last week, a little higher in Will County. Around the fully vaccinated amount in our own community continues to be about 91% fully vaccinated, with many people submitting their booster documentation as we get closer to that deadline. So a couple of announcements. Beginning Monday, February 28th, face coverings will be required only in classrooms, labs, and other specifically identified locations. Those other specifically identified locations will be marked with signs, and there won't be a lot of them, but some areas like the health center, probably some of the cockpit of airplanes would likely require face coverings, and places where people are together in really close proximity for larger periods of time, or where there might be high risk situations, but there won't be a lot of those examples out there. Booster status, a notification is required by March 14th, and when residential students return from spring break, they need to submit a negative test between March 12th and 16th. So in other words, all residential students need to take a PCR test during that period between March 12th and 16th. That could be done right before returning back from spring break at home, or it could be done on campus on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday of that first week back from spring break. And then, as always, unvaccinated individuals in our community need to continue to submit testing before Thursday at 6 to avoid fines and registration holds. The definition of unvaccinated, as I say this today, continues to be the first 2 shots. And then we will continue to offer weekly testing Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 in Memorial Hall. I'll have an announcement next week about spring break testing availability and the hours for that. And then, as always, our app is the best place to report a positive test, symptoms, or to upload your vaccination or booster status.
So maybe just a couple comments on this, Chris, because I think it's I guess I want to emphasize a few things that you mentioned. It's a real testament to the LUCE community that we have had 2 cases this week, 5 cases last week, and it goes to all the things you already mentioned, the kind of people washing their hands regularly, staying home from work or school when they have symptoms, reporting those symptoms, getting vaccinated, getting boosted. And then this alignment of our actions with the science and the guidance that we get from a whole host of different areas, including our own internal professionals. So, College Health Association, the CDC, internal people. And so the state is doing its thing. And maybe you could just talk a little bit more about the movement that for students walking down a hallway on Monday, they can continue, and I guess I want to emphasize this, they can continue to wear their masks if it's what makes them most comfortable.
Right. And
they won't need to wear a face covering if they don't feel that personally they need to. But all the other things about, you started with the kind of respect for each other. That sense of respecting each other is key for us to continue to move through this, that not everybody's going to agree on whether they should wear a face covering or not. And that's great, And then there's certain areas where the expectation remains because they're in those spaces. And we're going to continue to evaluate what the science and the numbers tell us.
Right. And thank you for reminding me. I in my message today, I will emphasize this a lot more, but I didn't say it. As we move into next week, we absolutely encourage people to wear face coverings if they want to for any reason, and we'll continue to promote a face covering friendly environment. Face coverings will be available in the same places they are now, in all the dean's offices and in different receptacles across campus. And first of all, so that's something I forgot to say that I really wanted to say. And then to your question about visualizing it, I think the way that I imagine it or picture it is similar to how I've been behaving when I walk outside without a face covering on, and then I walk down the street from my house and go to a convenience store all the time, and I just have my face covering and put it on as I walk in the door, and I don't think about it. That's the rule in the town that I live in, and I just do it. So I kind of imagine the classroom being like that, where people will be carrying their face coverings and just know it'll become habitual, at least for the next period of time that we're in, to just slip that on as they walk in, if they're not already wearing it in the first place.
No, I just think and hopefully people feel this as we're taking these gradual steps, but it's we hope that it finds that balance, in terms of recognizing what you said, which is first time since July that these numbers have been where they're at. That's really positive. Our community numbers are really low, and so that ability to have a kind of, from my point of view, a both-and approach, people being able to feel comfortable wearing their face coverings and also be able to sit in a hallway and do their work and not have to have their face covering on. So, it's good. There's some good news out there.
Yeah, thank you. And so there'll be more detail in my message this afternoon. A reminder that we have the Ask Us at lusu.edu on the screen there. So if you have questions about those announcements, send them in now, and we can try to address them after we say goodbye to our guests, or we'll do it via email after the show if you're watching a recording of the show. So we're really happy to be shifting gears and moving to the focus of today's program, and we've been bragging about how excited we are about this for a couple weeks now. So we're really happy to have our guests who are from the Rome program at the Lasallian Universities Center for Education, also known as LUCE, who are there this spring. Our students live in the Generalate, the mother house of the De La Salle Christian Brothers in Rome, Italy, through mid-April, and they are there now in the Generalate, waiting to come on. So I'd first like to introduce Dr. Demis Cremin, who directs the program. Dr. Cremin is a professor of history and an esteemed scholar of Chicago and regional history. Among many accomplishments and activities, he directs the Edelman's Regional History Center. Welcome, Dennis, and welcome, students.
Buongiorno da Italia. Buongiorno.
Boy. How long have you been there? 2 weeks? Wonderful to have you. And would you introduce our two students?
Yeah, so this is Reina Cortez. She's in forensic criminal investigation. She's a first-year student at LUCE University. And we have Ethan Jakubowski. He's a math major from nearby Romeoville High, and he is a second-year student at LUCE.
Wonderful. So nice to meet you, Reina and Ethan, and see you virtually. So
We're happy to be here.
Yeah.
wonderful, and we know it's 7:20 there in Rome, so I know they're going to go out to dinner, I bet, right after we're done
Yeah.
talking. So that's
So we're keeping you from a great
and we're jealous.
Roman meal, which we recognize.
Yeah. So I guess we were just talking about COVID. Dennis, maybe this is for you. Like, what have we done in Italy or in Rome to keep students safe, especially in connection to the pandemic?
Well, just so everybody sees, we're all wearing our masks inside, whenever we're inside. They've just dropped the mask mandate for outdoors.
Okay.
But again, on public transportation, everybody's wearing masks, and they're still requiring the N95 style masks. We have to show our CDC cards pretty much everywhere. Those are the equivalent to the Italian Green Pass. And so in order to enter a museum, a coffee shop, any place really, you get asked to show your Green Pass. So it feels very high, but it seems to be working, and we're hoping for some changes maybe in April 1st.
Oh,
Okay.
all right. Yeah, so right, similar, I mean, a little later than what's going on here in Illinois. So maybe you could just, I'd love to hear Reina and Ethan talk about, for students who might be interested in going, maybe the beginning part of this. So how did you hear about the program? What excited you about the program? And what kind of finally got you to say, yeah, this is the year for me to go? So maybe you could talk just a little bit about that process for you, and then we'll talk more, of course, about how it has been on the ground once you've gotten there. But kind of how did you get into this position where you're sitting in Rome today?
Well, for me, one of my other friends from high school, he also he's a LUCE student. And we were just walking around campus one day because we haven't really been able to check it out since COVID and everything. It was really difficult with classes being online last year. So we're going around campus and we saw one of the posters for the Rome programs. And my one friend was just like, hey, this looks like something that'd be really cool to do. We was like talking about, kind of joking around. At first, it was just a thought in my head. But the more and more I was thinking about it, the more I realized of how great of an opportunity it would be. The more I looked into it and how a lot of it works out where tuition is the whole entire thing besides just a plane ticket. The more I looked into it, the more I was like, this isn't something I can pass up.
That's great to hear. How about you, Reina? 'Cause you're just
I actually had, I'm sorry, can you repeat that again?
No, I was just saying that you're a first-year student, so you were just here one semester and got all this information and decided to come. So tell me about that.
So I was actually in my cornerstone class, and Christopher Swanson came in and kind of talked to us about the opportunities we had for Rome, and it's definitely sparked my interest because I wanted to travel. And then when I went to the informational meeting, Joanne and Dr. Cremin were there as long as Chris Swanson, and they just kind of told us about how it would go, and I was totally in for it.
That's so great.
That's so great. I love those stories of hearing about it, and because we spend so much time thinking about how will people find out about the program and what techniques work. So it's so cool. Maybe Dennis, a question for you to begin, and then it'd be great if Reina and Ethan could talk about this. But so this is basically a semester abroad program in Rome. Could you tell us? But it's a little bit different than that. So tell us a little bit about how the classes are set up, the academic program is set up, and what people are studying while they're there.
Yeah, so we have a really dynamic program and a number of delivery styles. Students mainly get a LUCE experience through their general education courses. So for example, students are taking the theology course, which looks at faith in the arts. and they're able to go out to each of the churches in kind of chronological order, starting with the catacombs and moving through time all the way, kind of closing with the Baroque period here in Rome. I'm teaching a course in an interdisciplinary seminar with Claire Rothschild in theology. She comes in on Mondays at 7 p.m. From Illinois, and we're teaching a course called Christians as the Romans Saw Them. So we're looking at different writers like Pliny the Younger, Galen, and we're looking at Christianity from the Roman perspective and actually taking seriously their religion. Other courses include art appreciation, taught by an Italian professor, Italy Today, which is also taught by an Italian professor, which is really a literature course based on film. But also we had a wonderful experience going out to the National Museum of Liberation last week, which was very strange. I hadn't been there before. 3 floors of an apartment where the SS conducted interrogations.
Wow.
Only about 7 of the people came out of that site. And it was really powerful to me to think of, Filippo said, fascism is an Italian brand. We're at the 100th anniversary of Mussolini's March on Rome this year, October of 1922. And here we were at a place, and many people went along with fascism until the racial laws of 1938. But this site brought it together in a very real way. And the students watched the famous film, Rome, Open City. And it set the context for the period coming out of the war. So it's a dynamic place. We have Jerry Kavoris coming over right after spring break, teaching an environmental history course. So he's been teaching online at 7 p.m. on Wednesdays here. And then he'll be here for an entire week, taking students out and using the lens of water. So looking at the Tiber River and doing some testing there and talking about people who are trying to clean it up. But most spectacularly going out to the Aqueduct Park, where you can see the aqueduct going on for miles and miles outside of the city of Rome. So the main thing is these courses connect and use Rome as the classroom. That's really the spectacular thing. And I think it brings humanities to life.
It's so great. I mean, I wish I was there. I think, Dennis, I think you know this, but the students may not. I did many years of taking students studying abroad. We used to do a trip at my previous university where it was, we had about 2 weeks in Rome/Italy writ large, and then 2 weeks in England and 2 weeks in Ireland. And it was really just a great way to, and I taught church history in that context, starting in Rome, doing the Reformation in England, and then talking about Celtic Christianity and modern Christianity in Ireland. But I what I hear from you and the excitement, and I'd love to hear the students talk a little bit about how that kind of experiential learning has been for them. So this kind of, I get a lecture and then I go see the real thing. Could you talk a little bit about what that's been like, Raina and Ethan?
So having the opportunity to be at the sites and actually see what you're learning about kind of makes it that more real. I feel like my learning experience here has been a lot better. I've grasped everything better, and I've been able to see tangible items from the past. I've grown an interest for it, and I've definitely had a spark of curiosity when I've been going to these sites, and I've been trying to do my research on my own. And I wouldn't have done it without Dr. Cremin and Joanne. Everybody here has been so helpful, and they just teach us and do the best that they can. That's what I would say.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, having Rome as your classroom is definitely a lot better than using a textbook. And just being able to see all of the different pieces of art and all the different sculptures, I can't even imagine taking a art history class anywhere else. It's so much better just to be able to have it all there right in front of you. It just feels surreal sometimes.
I'm sure. Yeah, that's just
great.
Awesome.
One other thing I'll just
Yeah.
mention listening to them is is about the delivery method. So this is the we've done this program for several years pre-COVID, and it was maybe more traditional in terms of a group of people going there, and we've always had professors from Italy in the mix teaching, but the way that Dennis described it, it's both professors from LUCE teaching, professors who are based in Rome teaching, and now we have this great flexibility to be able to do things virtually. So Claire's here, Dr. Caboris has been here, and he's going there now. Having that flexibility probably makes the experience more complex and allows more professors to be involved and so on. So it's really exciting to imagine what the opportunities are for the future. And I don't know if Dr. Cremin, you've thought about that, or if you have thoughts about that now, or how it's been different from year to year. I know you've been involved off and on for a long time, but really a lot in the last 3 years.
Yeah, I think it creates a really dynamic learning community, and I think it's giving more people an opportunity to think about Rome and the possibilities for their courses. I think Jerry's course is a great model, and using the environmental history and something as pervasive as water, which was one of those things that Lasallians concentrated on as one of their research areas, and then having it come to life. It was a bit of a downer. He had the students in their first day of class calculate their carbon footprint by flying to Italy, but there's always this cost. But it's really exciting, and speaking for myself, I just love being able to access Claire Rothschild. She's so brilliant, and she brings so much energy to the classroom at 7:00 p.m. our time. It's amazing.
I just want to point out that those students will not, I believe is true, will not be driving their cars for this entire spring
semester.
break.
So we got to subtract that.
If you're feeling guilty about the carbon footprint of the air flight, at least you're not driving around Rome in your own cars like you would be here probably.
So can I ask the three of you to comment a little bit on the learning around the Lasallian network? You just mentioned that, Dennis, in terms of the water as an issue that the Lasallian kind of broader community, there's 64 universities, hundreds of high schools, looked at, what is, water was one of those things. There's 4 research areas, but could you talk a little bit about, what it's like to be in the Generalate, first off, because I think many students who walk around our campus right now don't know that the Generalate exists, wouldn't necessarily know, they know that we're a Lasallian school, but they wouldn't know that there's 64 universities. They wouldn't know that there's an area, a place in Rome where decisions are made about the Lasallian global community. So how does that play into, like, walking around those grounds, seeing the brothers there? How does it play into the educational process, and what are people learning about that community of learners and teachers and universities?
Ethan, maybe I can go to you first. We've had the Superior General come to class, Brother Bob. We've also had one of our Board of Trustees, Brother Ernest from Philadelphia, come and speak to us. Maybe, Ethan, can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so we met a couple of the brothers who they live here, and they just made, the main thing they talked to us about was just like their mission in general, all about them and the type of things that they do, and a lot of it's about their, like, a lot of the I'm sorry, I'm blanking right now.
You're fine.
So I know they talked a lot about, like, the volunteer work that they did, and a lot of like going and excursioning out there, and just like, I feel like the message that they're really trying to do is just show, like, why they're here and what made them want to follow the paths that they wanted to go down, and how they wanted to impact the world.
That's great.
And I think that the main point is they're talking about their educational mission in the world, and that's really what they talked about when they came to class.
Yeah.
Raina?
Yeah, so honestly, before I came here, like, I did know about the Lasallian, thing, but like when I actually got here, it wasn't until like we talked to Brother Bob and Brother Ernest that I realized how like this community, how that there's a community like of this, that there's brothers too. We learned a lot about John Baptist de La Salle here, and to be at his like Casa La Salle, this is what it's called too, the General Lit, to be here and live amongst the brothers is kind of cool to see, because you don't live with brothers all the time. We've learned we've learned a lot about them and the education. So I honestly think that this is a great opportunity. The brothers have been very kind to us, and we've learned a lot from the brothers.
That's great. You know, one of the things that I'm hoping for, you know, I'm going to be visiting Easter week, and I'm going to be there with the International Association of Lasallian Universities Board. So there's going to be presidents from 7 different universities around the world. So from the Philippines, from Spain, from France, from Mexico, from Brazil. And I'd love for the students to meet those presidents. So I'm hoping that we can have a time where our students can have just, you know, a half an hour, 45 minutes of, you know, conversation over maybe some, you know, appetizers or something that we can, just so you get a sense of how broad the scope of this Lasallian network is. It's so good to hear that that Brother Bob was willing to speak with you. And of course, it doesn't surprise me. I knew Ernest was going over. I didn't know he was going to be able to speak with you. So hopefully you'll continue to get those opportunities to meet with people from around the globe who are really involved in this. Yeah, I guess I'm interested in maybe Dennis or the students. What's coming up in the next couple weeks? Where, you know, are you going anywhere? Are you staying in Rome? What are you excited to see over the next couple weeks?
Raina, where are we going tomorrow?
Tomorrow we're going to be heading to Florence. So that's going to be exciting. I'm excited to see the David,
Yes.
a statue by Michelangelo. So I'm excited to see the artwork there.
Ethan, anything else on the horizon that you're aware of?
Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure when, but I think in around a month we're also going to Assisi. So there's a lot of beautiful churches, and it's just I don't really know much about it yet, but I'm just really excited to learn what's there. I've seen some pictures of it, and it looks like it's gonna be really cool.
That's going to be great.
Yeah, and I think just being able to immerse ourselves in the art, the Renaissance in Florence, and Assisi, just really see the witness and the life of St. Francis is so powerful. I'm really looking forward to that as well.
Oh yeah, it's great. I love both those places, so I'm a little jealous because when I'm over there, I'm not going to see either one of those places, but really love it. And we're seeing some pictures, I think from some stuff that you've sent along. So it looks just so amazing. I'm so glad you're having the experience that you're having.
It's wonderful. I guess I want to add, looking at these pictures makes me want to ask another question about just kind of how are you build community? You know, what's it like being around each other and being together in that place? And you know, I guess maybe what are some of the things you're doing that are organized, but also just like what's it like to be together for this? I know it's just kind of starting, but how is that going?
Can you talk about the community room, or actually Joanne Kuttner, who's a professor from theology, does wonderful things. Maybe I'll go to Raina first and then to Ethan.
Yeah, so before this, I guess we didn't really know each other that well, but we kind of all clicked really well. The rest of our peers, we come together in our like community room or our lounge room. We spent a lot of time there just getting homework done. We have a classroom called the Green Room that we always go to every day, and just being able to see everybody's faces is nice to see. It's nice that we can all click, that we all connect, and that we're going through this experience together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like exactly like Raymond was saying. I feel that like since that we're all in like the same situation, it's really easy for us to like understand where everyone's coming from, and it's just it was really easy for us to like click together and just be able to hang out. We always make sure no one gets left behind whenever we go out if we want to, like, let's say, like, go see the Coliseum or something, and go to some new museum that we haven't been to. So we all get along really good, and I feel like it's something that you don't really get at, like, the normal college experience.
So great. I mean, so I guess I'll close with this. So any last comments that you want to offer, any of the three of you? And I guess I say that both in terms of, people might be watching it now, they might watch it in a few weeks, and we could take clips of it to kind of advertise. So if you had to, what's the kind of closing remark about the experience that you'd like to share with us and the broader LUCE community?
I just want to thank the LUCE community for making this possible. This is a really spectacular and exceptional learning opportunity. And so I think people using place-based learning, but also this sense of community and the international Lasallian network. We're here at a very exciting time with the general chapter starting in May, and Brother Ernest was here. He's on the preparation committee. So this is a really exciting time to be here. Maybe I'll go to Ethan.
Yeah, I feel like this is definitely like a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I knew I couldn't pass it up. And I really wish that like more students would know about it and like be able to see just what an opportunity it is, because I remember like telling them I'm going to Rome, and they're like, "Oh, that's really cool." But that must be like expensive, and like they're like, "Oh, so you're doing it through our school?" And it's just for me, it's just I just love the program so much, and everything that we're doing here. Going around, seeing all the museums, and using Rome as a classroom. Like we keep on hearing that a lot, but that's exactly what it is. We're using Rome as our class, and I just think that's really cool.
I'm very honored to be a part of this program. I know that since COVID started, not a lot of people like wanted to come back here, but we all got through it together with the help of the program with Chris, Cremin, and Joanne Kuttner. I think this is a great opportunity for freshmen even to just like immerse themselves in culture and get to know like themselves and feel a sense of community with not only like the Italians around here, but the Lasallians, like our Lasallian program with like the brothers as well. I've learned a lot about who I am, about the culture that I'm in, about history, churches, and even just Christianity. So I think this is a really good opportunity for people who are trying to go to a different country and learn a little bit more about themselves and their world around them.
That's so awesome. What a way
much.
to end. We'll end on that note because it's perfect. So Ethan, Raina, Dr. Cremin, thank you so much for taking the time away from your friends who are probably waiting for you outside the door to go to dinner. So enjoy your dinner, and thank you so much for joining us on this show. We are, this is one of those, there's so many points of pride. I feel like, this show on one level is an opportunity for Chris and I on a weekly basis to just be amazed at so many things that the LUCE community does every week, from athletics to academics to things like study abroad. And it gives me such pride to be a part of this community. It's really an amazing group of, we're basically a little over 7,000 people in this LUCE community. And I am constantly amazed by what that community does each week and over an extended period of time. So thank you, the three of you. Thank you, everybody who's watching. Appreciate your presence here, Dr. Sint. And everybody have a wonderful week. Many blessings to you and your family.